Hey there. So, I am here to join the Breakthrough Junior Challenge, and I have an amazingly new revolutionary technique based on experimental drug testing on animals. Well, I have a new theory. I have a new technique. Basically, imagine this. Ever since the early ever since the earliest years of mankind, like say in the early 10th to 11th century, and even since the Greek times, we've been using animals as test subjects to find new cures and testing experimental drugs on them, uh, so that we wouldn't have to test it on humans anymore. Afterwards, you would have to imagine that that we would test them on animals for centuries. We would test them out on animals for centuries, and then based on that, we actually found a cure for polio. There is now a cure for polio thanks to research on animals. Thanks to testing it on animals. In that case, it was tested on dogs, which had similar effects on having polio. At least that's the theory anyway, or animals. Actually, yeah. So anyway, we I have a new technique. My technique would not consist of testing on animals. Testing experimental drugs on animals. And the reason why is because there are many arguments right now these days from society that some people in society don't agree that testing experimental drugs or experimenting on animals is right. They think it's torture for the animals and that it's unfair. Well, I have a new technique that can actually settle that. Basically, it's supposed to be used as a modern 21st century technique. And what it is it would not be tested on humans, animals, or even humans. And the reason why is because you're not testing it on somebody, you're testing it on something that's part of somebody. And what I mean by that is that you will be testing the experimental drug. Scientists would study the experimental drug not on humans or even animals, not anymore, but on cells that are a part of that human or that animal. So this is how, imagine this. You would basically have to picture this like you have a patient that's, say it's infected. That patient has cancer, and what you would have to do is you would take a sample of that patient's cells. It can be more than one, or basically it could be one, and then you would use a 3D printer to 3D print other copies of that cell or that sample of those infected cells from that infected patient that you just took from. So after that, you would basically 3D print more of those cells, and then using a microscope, put those cells inside a microscope, and then test the experimental drug on those cells. And using that microscope, you can test out if that experimental drug works and is effective, cures the disease that patient has that you took the cell samples from. And you would basically have to, what benefits this is some of the things that really benefit from this and really are revolutionary is that you don't have to risk the lives of animals or even ultimately humans to do this, because you wouldn't test it on either animals or humans. You would test it on a sample of those animals or even those humans, the cells, so to speak. So because of that, you don't have to risk any lives. So that really helps, and this really benefits society, because you don't have to have a lot of riots. You don't have to have a lot of discussions or politicians argue over this. You don't have to have warfare or anything like that. You would basically just have to calm down. And basically today, people think that animals are being mistreated, when in fact they are actually trying, the scientists there are actually trying to help humans by torturing animals. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. And the gratitude that these people who oppose animal experimenting, the gratitude that they give out to the scientists is, this is wrong. When in fact, the scientists are doing that to help not only the animals, but the people as well. Even the people who are opposing animal experimenting and drug testing. So you won't have to have that anymore. That is also one of the things that benefits my new technique. People will have more confidence in doctors, a lot more confidence, and they will trust them that they're trying to help not only them but everyone, every human in the world, and even animals too. That way, because they are not sacrificing any lives of animals or humans, well, they would just have a lot of more confidence in doctors than they've ever had before. More people will even believe that doctors are here to help us. Even the people who think now that doctors are here to hurt us or harm us and are not doing any good, even those people will change their minds and believe that doctors are here to help us. That they are, in a sense, they are trying to help humans and find new cures previously undreamt of. And there's nothing wrong with that, of course, but some people oppose it. They oppose it. They don't think doctors are doing this for them or to help humans. They just think that it's bad. But my new technique is gonna help a lot. So this is how it would work. I pretty much gave a little bit of a description there, but here's how it would work. You would call in a patient who has a disease such as cancer, right? So you would call in a patient and take cell samples of that patient who has cancer. And then afterwards, after you take some skin cells out of that patient, even skin cells can be infected with cancer. So after that, you would put the cells in a 3D printer. After you process them first, and then you would put them in the 3D printer to print more copies of those cells that are infected with cancer. And then you would afterward put those extra 3D printed cells inside and see them through the lens of a microscope. So, and then after that, you would just add the experimental drug that you believe will be able to cure cancer. So you would just have to research more of the symptoms of cancer and the chemicals involved in it, so you can create a new experimental drug that has which is a vaccine or a cure, that has chemicals that actually are really effective and kill the chemicals that cause cancer and are basically in the cancer cells that you have extracted and 3D printed. And then that would actually help find a cure for cancer much quicker than ever before. You can even find cures for Alzheimer's, AIDS, and even HIV. You would find cures for uncurable diseases that are right now are uncurable, but you will using my new technique, this will help the world even better. It will help the world, and it will make the world a better place, and it will help uh, the people of the world will remain healthier than ever before. They will never have to worry about uncurable diseases ever again, because those diseases, if you try my new technique, and if it works, then those people who are infected with uncurable diseases will now be cured, right? And then will be cured. So after that, the people of the future won't have to worry about that, and the world will just get better. Medicine will evolve using my new technique, and I hope, and I really hope that my new technique will be implemented globally, worldwide. Like, the whole world will use it. I hope the world understands that. I hope the world really will use my technique, and I hope the world understands that I believe this is the best way to find new cures for uncurable diseases right now, and it is a lot better than experimenting on animals. So I believe that this is good. I mean, because we really need to find so many cures, and the best way to find them is not by experimenting on animals, and obviously not on humans either, because, well, you're risking their lives. But my technique guarantees that no lives will be risked. Why? Because you are not experimenting on anyone. You're experimenting on a sample of someone who is infected with a disease that you're trying to find a cure with, okay? So it's something that's really beneficial. It's something that will be revolutionary. And I hope that Khan Academy accepts my technique as something that will be implemented to the entire world. I hope that my technique will be fully operational and will be fully implemented onto laboratories and even hospitals worldwide. And I hope the world will be a better place with my new technique that I just came up with based on life sciences. So anyway, thank you guys. Thank you so much for watching. And Khan Academy, if you like my technique, don't hesitate to let me know. Thank you.